Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are strapping in for, I think, the absolute pivot point of perhaps the greatest journey ever written.
Dante's Descent.
Exactly. But we're not even talking about the monsters yet or, the geography of hell. We're talking about that profound, almost overwhelming crisis of confidence that threatens to stop the whole thing.
Before he even takes the first step.
Yeah, before it even begins.
It's such a human moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're in Canto 2, and our mission today is really to analyze this transition. It's the point where Dante, who was so eager just a few lines ago, suddenly decides he's not worthy.
And it's not just stage fright.
No, not at all. This is a theological challenge to his entire destiny. He has to establish his divine, his cosmic right to be there, to trespass in the immortal world, or the story it ends right here.
So our main source is, of course, the text of Canto 2 itself, and it lays out the whole argument, the whole defense. We see Dante's powerful challenge to his guide, Virgil.
And that great invocation of memory, the power that errs not.
Followed by Virgil's incredibly detailed, structured, and frankly awe-inspiring explanation of the heavenly mandate that sanctioned this whole impossible journey.
So the central question for us to unpack is, well, it's psychological, but it's also spiritual. Why does Dante suddenly balk?
Right. And what kind of power, what kind of celestial bureaucracy even is strong enough to counter that kind of sheer paralyzing fear?
Exactly. We're going to map out the three incredible layers of divine intervention that make sure he succeeds.
Okay, so let's unpack this moment of hesitation. Dante sets the scene so beautifully. Evening is falling. The embrowned air has released the animals that are on Earth from their fatigues.
Everything is winding down.
Everything. All of creation gets a reprieve, a rest from the day's work, all except him. He is the only one preparing for the war of the way.
What a word to use. A war.
And he turns to Virgil and he asks him to regard his manhood if it be sufficient. I mean, the doubt is right there on the surface.
It is. And it's such a sophisticated moment of self-doubt. Because it's framed historically.
Yeah.
Biblically even. He's worried about, getting tired. He's worried about legitimacy.
He's basically asking, do I have the cosmic credentials to even try this?
Precisely. And he holds himself up against two figures who were allowed to enter the immortal world while they were still in their corruptible bodies.
The first being Aeneas, who he calls Sylvius's parent, who went bodily to the underworld.
And the second, of course, is Paul, the chosen vessel, who went to bring back comfort thence unto that faith.
So for Dante, Aeneas wasn't just some myth.
Oh no, we have to really drill down on this. For Dante, Aeneas' journey wasn't just a quest. It was the entire foundation of the Western political and spiritual order. He points out that Aeneas' journey was justified because he was the chosen father of great Rome and her empire.
And that was decreed. Where?
In the imperial heaven. By God himself. So Aeneas' journey wasn't about saving his own soul. It was about creating the framework for all future salvation.
That's huge.
It is. And Dante hammers this home with one of the most politically charged lines in the entire canto. He says the Roman Empire was established as the holy place, wherein sits the successor of the greatest Peter.
Wow. So he's directly fusing Roman secular power, the empire, with the divine plan for the papacy.
He is. Aeneas' descent was a necessary precondition for the spiritual organization of the entire world. It was a matter of high theological, high political effect.
He was laying the groundwork for Christianity itself.
Yes. The Roman Empire, for Dante, is part of God's plan, and Aeneas was the agent. So Dante looks at this monumental, universe-altering mandate. And then he looks at himself.
And finds himself wanting.
Completely. That's why his declaration is so final. I not Aeneas am, I am not Paul, nor I nor others think me worthy of it.
It's a complete spiritual collapse. He just unwills what he willed.
That's the perfect way to put it. He literally talks himself right out of his divine purpose. Which, raises the question, if a man this convicted can be brought so low, what on earth or in heaven is powerful enough to pull him back?
Well, Virgil's response is immediate. And he does not mince words.
No, he doesn't.
He just calls him out. He identifies the problem as cowardice. He says this baseness turns him back from honored enterprise, as false sight doth a beast when he is shy.
It's important to understand he's not just calling him scared. He's calling his doubt a form of spiritual failure.
A lack of honor.
A lack of honor, yeah. He compares it to an animal startled by a shadow, suggesting the fear is irrational. And to fix it, Virgil has to reveal the truth. This whole trip wasn't his idea. It was a command.
From heaven itself.
Exactly. He starts by explaining his own situation. He was just, dwelling among those in suspense, in limbo, when the salvation came calling for him.
So tell us about this guide that shows up.
A fair, saintly lady appears to him, and we get this wonderful, luminous description of her eyes shining brighter than the star.
That detail is amazing. It immediately tells you she's a creature of pure divine light.
Powerful enough to pierce the gloom of limbo and command the great Virgil. And she approaches him, the spirit courteous of Mantua, with respect. She praises his fame.
And then she gives her mission statement. It's personal, and it's urgent.
It is. She identifies Dante as a friend of mine and not the friend of fortune, who is being blocked by terror. She's worried she might have risen too late to help him.
And then comes the command.
She asks Virgil to use his speech ornate, that beautiful, persuasive language he's famous for, and whatever else is needed to help Dante, for one reason, so that she may be consoled.
And then the big reveal.
Beatrice am I, who do bid thee go. The lady of his devotion, the catalyst for his entire spiritual life, is his guide's guide.
This is where it gets really transformative, because she doesn't hide why she's there. She says, "Love moved me, which compelleth me to speak."
And that's not just, human affection. That's divine charity, capital C. It's love as a cosmic force. And she even promises to praise Virgil to God for his help.
Which is like the ultimate heavenly letter of recommendation.
For a soul in limbo.
Yeah.
It's the highest assurance you could possibly get. But Dante, hearing all this, still has one more question. A good one, actually.
Right. He asks her why she, this lady of virtue, this being whose power is so great, why would she risk coming down into hell?
That's a fantastic question. And her answer is just. It's chillingly pragmatic and theological. She says you should only fear things that have the power to actually harm you.
And since she's protected by God,
The misery and the flame of hell, they assail me not. They can't touch her.
think about that. She is standing in the depths of hell, fully aware of all the evil, all the torment, and she is completely unmoved, unafraid.
God's mercy created her in such a way that the infernal fires can't even register she's there. It shows the absolute authority of grace over corruption.
So connecting this to the bigger picture, it becomes clear that Beatrice is just the final link in a much longer, much more complex rescue operation.
Exactly. This is the divine bureaucracy in action. This didn't start with her.
Okay, so let's trace this. This is the core of his justification. Where does the mandate actually originate?
It starts at the very top with the gentle lady in heaven. Scholars consistently identify her as an allegory for divine mercy itself.
So, mercy.
Mercy. She is the one who grieves at this impediment Dante faces, and her grief is so profound that it literally breaks stern judgment.
Meaning she initiates an exception to the rule.
An exception to eternal consequence. So divine mercy kicks off the whole rescue mission. And who does she contact?
She goes to Lucia, St. Lucy.
Who represents enlightened grace. Mercy tells Lucia, "Thy faithful one now stands in need of thee." And Lucia is characterized as the foe of all that cruel is. She is active, protective, and swift.
I love that. Grace as an active opponent of cruelty. Like a warrior.
And Lucia doesn't waste any time. She goes and finds Beatrice, who is divine love, sitting with the ancient Rachel, who is the symbol of divine contemplation.
So the chain of command is mercy calls grace, who then calls love, who is in quiet contemplation.
And grace, Lucia, basically gives Beatrice a sharp reprimand for not acting sooner.
What's the exact message?
It's a chastisement, really. She demands, "Why succorest thou not him who loved thee so? For thee he issued from the vulgar herd." She reminds Beatrice that Dante set himself apart from ordinary men because of his love for her.
And then comes the warning.
The crucial warning. She warns of the death that combats him beside that flood where ocean has no vaunt.
Wow, that's a terrifying image. The danger he's facing is so huge that it makes the entire ocean look small.
Exactly. This wasn't just a moment of weakness for Dante. He was facing a spiritual danger more potent than anything on earth. His entire salvation was on the line.
So the whole organized hierarchy of the cosmos gets activated. Mercy, grace, love all to save this one man.
And Beatrice tells Virgil that when she heard this, she came down from her blessed seat faster than anyone could rush to escape pain or find joy. And Virgil's story, in turn, makes Beatrice weep.
And her weeping actually accelerates Virgil's speed.
The deep sympathy of heaven is translated into earthly velocity. So Virgil brings this whole incredible story back to Dante, reminds him that he is cared for by three such ladies benedict in heaven, and asks one last time, "Why is such baseness bedded in thy heart?"
And that's it. The doubt is just gone, eradicated.
And his transformation is shown with that famous simile, the one with the flowers. His exhausted strength returns.
Right, like the little flowerets that were bowed down and closed by the cold and the dark.
Yes, wilted and shut off from the world, just like Dante was by his fear. But then they uplift themselves all open on their stems when the sun, which Virgil represents in that moment, touches them.
It's a beautiful metaphor for his courage returning. The revelation of this chain of command was like a spiritual defibrillator.
It was. And his response is immediate gratitude. To Beatrice, to Virgil, he's fully committed. He says, now go, for one sole will is in us both. Thou leader and thou lord and master thou.
He recognizes Virgil's authority comes from the highest possible source. And with that, his fear is gone, the mandate is clear.
And he entered on the deep and savage way.
What a powerful end to this canto. It really establishes that the entire cosmos is invested in Dante's success. This journey isn't just a personal pilgrimage.
No, it's a political mission sanctioned by the history of Rome and a spiritual mission guaranteed by divine mercy, grace, and love.
It shows that even that greatest fear, that feeling of unworthiness, can be overcome, not just by personal bravery, but by understanding the scope of the mission and the incredible support system behind you.
He literally gets a celestial organizational chart proving he belongs there.
Which leaves us with a fascinating paradox to think about. Virgil says Beatrice's love compelled her to speak. Spontaneous.
Right, but we know her action was preceded by mercy breaking judgment and grace making a direct plea. So considering this whole hierarchy of intercession, what does this highly structured, almost bureaucratic process tell us about the nature of divine action?
Is it spontaneous intervention based purely on love and compassion?
Or is it a perfect pre-established chain of command that operates with clockwork precision, just waiting for a crisis to activate? Something for you to ponder as we move deeper into the dark forest.